They say tears are the last language of pain. And when Arionne Curry broke down crying, it wasn't just about the man she once risked everything for, it was about the truth that finally caught up with her. The kind of truth Martell Holt can't run from anymore. The truth about Melody. For years, this love triangle has been the messiest storyline reality TV could have ever dreamed of. Melody Shari, the wife, the builder, the woman who carried a marriage and a brand on her back. Martell Holt, the charming but reckless husband who threw it all away. And Arionne Curry, the mistress turned longtime other woman, who always believed that one day she would be the chosen one. But what happens when the lies collapse? When the secrets are no longer whispers in the dark but exposed in the daylight? What happens when Martell finally admits that Melody was the foundation, the glue, the one he could never truly replace? That's the moment the tears came. And the internet? Baby, the internet lit up like a wildfire. But before we get to Arionne's emotional breakdown, let's rewind. Because this story didn't start with tears. It started with temptation, betrayal, and choices that can never be undone. Martell and Melody were Huntsville's golden couple. Young, ambitious, polished. They didn't just build houses, they built a brand, a reputation, a picture-perfect life that fans admired. From the outside, it looked unshakable. For beautiful kids, a booming business, a power couple narrative that fit neatly into the reality TV world. But behind the scenes, cracks were already forming. Martell's ego grew as fast as his success, and with that ego came entitlement. He wanted to be admired not just by his wife, but by every woman who glanced his way. And that's where Arionne entered the picture. She wasn't a star. She wasn't on TV. She wasn't a public figure. She was the woman who gave Martell what he thought he wasn't getting at home: attention, validation, a dangerous thrill that turned into a full-blown affair. For Melody, the discovery was devastating. She wasn't just betrayed as a wife. She was humiliated as a businesswoman, a mother, and later as a reality TV star when the affair became a storyline for the world to dissect. And for Arionne, the affair became her entire identity. She wasn't Martell's wife. She wasn't his partner in business. She was the woman in the shadows, the one who waited by the phone, the one who heard promises in private but got none of the respect in public. Year after year, the affair dragged on. Melody tried to hold her marriage together, but the betrayal was relentless. And instead of cutting ties, Martell doubled down, dividing his time between two women who deserved better. When the truth finally exploded and the marriage crumbled, Melody walked away. She chose herself. She chose her kids. She chose peace. And that's where Martell's truth begins to unravel. Because no matter how loud he tried to deny it, no matter how often he shifted blame, the reality was clear: he had lost the one woman who truly built him up. Fast forward to now. Martell, desperate to reclaim some control over the narrative, finally opened up about Melody. And what he said didn't just sting, it shook Arionne to her core. In a late-night conversation, Martell admitted what fans already suspected: Melody was the only one who ever stood beside him as an equal. She wasn't just his wife, she was his partner in every sense of the word. The one who dreamed with him, sacrificed with him, and gave him the kind of stability he didn't even realize he needed until it was gone. And then, in the same breath, he admitted what Arionne didn't want to hear: that the affair was never about love. It was about ego. It was about weakness. It was about escaping responsibility. Arionne was never meant to be the replacement. She was the distraction. Imagine hearing that after more than a decade of waiting in the shadows. Imagine realizing that all the years you believed you were the secret soulmate were nothing more than moments of convenience for a man who never planned to give you the spotlight. That's when Arionne broke. Live on social media, tears rolling down her face, she tried to explain that she was more than the other woman. That she, too, had feelings. That she, too, had been hurt. But the public wasn't buying it. Because for years, she wore the title of mistress with pride. She clapped back at Melody. She mocked fans. She posted cryptic messages as if she had won some invisible war. And now, as the tables turn, sympathy is hard to find. Here's the twist, though. Arionne's tears weren't just about Martell's confession. They were about what it revealed to the world and to herself. She realized that while Melody was rebuilding, she was still stuck in the same place. Melody took her pain and turned it into power-building businesses, securing her children's future, walking runways, and reclaiming her voice. Meanwhile, Arionne was left with broken promises and public shame. She gave Martell her youth, her loyalty, her belief in a future that never came, and in return, she got tears. And Martell? He's not the winner in this either. Because the more he speaks, the clearer it becomes that he doesn't know how to live with or without Melody. He lost his marriage, his reputation, and much of his respect. And now he's stuck, trying to spin truths that only highlight his downfall. The emotional impact of all this runs deeper than gossip. For Melody, it's another reminder that walking away was the right choice. For Arionne, it's the painful reality that she bet everything on a man who was never fully hers. And for Martell, it's the spotlight he can't escape, one that exposes his failures more than his success. The children are caught in the middle, the fans are divided, and the show that once thrived on their drama now feels like a mirror of Martell's unraveling. Arionne's tears may have been real, but to many viewers, they came too late. Too many years of denial, too many moments of arrogance, too many chances to step away, and now, when the truth is undeniable, she finally feels the weight of it all. And that brings us to the powerful ending. Life has a way of forcing us to face the truths we try hardest to avoid. For Martell, the truth is that he destroyed the one relationship that truly defined him. For Arionne, the truth is that she was never the prize, she was part of the downfall. And for Melody, the truth is that she never needed Martell to shine. Tears may fall, excuses may pour out, but the truth remains: Melody walked away and rose higher. Martell is still fighting his own shadow. And Arionne? She's left with the tears of a dream that never existed in the first place. And maybe, just maybe, those tears are the beginning of her own wake-up call. Because if Melody's story teaches us anything, it's this: you don't find peace in someone else's chaos. You find it by choosing yourself. So the question now isn't whether Arionne will be forgiven. The question is whether she will finally forgive herself for believing in a man who was never hers to begin with. And that's the real story, the one behind the tears. When the dust settles, the noise fades, and the comments die down, one truth remains: every choice carries a price. Martell made his choice years ago when he stepped outside of his marriage, chasing temporary thrills instead of protecting his family. That price? He lost the woman who once stood beside him as an equal. He lost the respect of millions who watched the collapse of his marriage in real time. And he lost the security of knowing that no matter how high he climbed, Melody would be there to steady the ground beneath him. Arionne made her choice too. She believed she could rewrite the rules of love, that she could build happiness on another woman's heartbreak. But no matter how many promises she held onto, the ending was always written in invisible ink. Now the tears she sheds aren't just about Martell's confession, they're about the years wasted, the opportunities missed, and the realization that she built her identity around a man who was never truly hers. And then there's Melody. The woman who endured betrayal, humiliation, and the breaking apart of her family in front of cameras and the public eye. Yet instead of allowing it to destroy her, she turned her pain into purpose. She transformed heartbreak into business ventures, custody battles into strength, and public humiliation into a story of survival and rebirth. Melody proves that dignity speaks louder than revenge. Her silence has more power than 1,000 arguments. And her success is the reminder that you cannot bury a woman who has chosen to rise. But here's what cuts the deepest. This isn't just about reality TV drama or celebrity gossip. It's a story about choices, consequences, and the ripple effect of betrayal. Families are changed forever. Children grow up watching their parents fight battles that never needed to happen. And in the process, the wounds run deeper than the cameras will ever show. For Martell, the fight now is not with Melody, not with Arionne, not even with the fans who call him out. His fight is with himself, with the man he sees in the mirror, with the legacy he's leaving behind, with the question of whether he can ever truly rebuild what he tore apart. For Arionne, the road ahead is filled with a different question. Does she keep clinging to the pieces of a broken dream? Or does she finally let go and build something real for herself? Tears may wash away the pain in the moment, but they can't rewrite the past. Only choices made today can shape the future. And for Melody, the path is clearer than ever. She's no longer defined by the mistakes of her ex-husband or the bitterness of a woman who once mocked her pain. She's defined by her resilience, her ability to thrive in the face of chaos, and her decision to choose herself when it mattered most. So maybe the real lesson is this: betrayal can break you, but it can also awaken you. And in the end, only the awakened survive.